Britt, when you take on a part like this, how daunting is it to know that the writer is
I
basing
know.
their life around this?
I know. It's pretty cool. I mean, so Susan, who wrote this story, and it's sort of loosely inspired off this relationship that she built in her life. She was a big part of the entire experience. She was there for the table read and the rehearsals, and even when we started shooting, Bruce Beresford, the director, really let her be a part of the shooting process. So I liked having her there because it always helped me. It helped me feel confident and comfortable knowing that she was getting everything that she needed to be accurate and make her feel like the story was being told the way she wanted it to. So I loved having her there as kind of like my comfort blanket. But I mean, I tried to do my best.
Well, when I talked to her last week, she mentioned I won't give away what happens, but there's her favorite moment. She said that out of body kind of moment for her, like
Oh.
reliving, was when you have a scene where you're reading to Eddie Murphy's character.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that gives me chills. That's really sweet. Well, there's so many beautiful. What I love about the story is there's so many little scenes that build really the story and the relationships, and there's so many of these like little bits and pieces that she tied into the story that mean so much to her. And it's also what as an audience, I think it's what makes you fall in love with them as characters, because they're really taking care of each other. And I think that's what's really special about this film is it's not just about Eddie Murphy's character, taking care of Charlie in her time of need. It's really about, when the tables are turned, it's about her kind of stepping up and doing the same thing for him. And that's really such a sweet, like, sentiment.
As an actress playing from a teenager up to close to 30, what for you? What was the most difficult period in there to play?
Well, probably as we started getting to the older ages, I just wanted to make sure that we were spending enough time on those looks so that the audience believed it, honestly, that I could really have a 5-year-old daughter and that I could take care of this grown man. I wanted the audience to go on that journey with us. And what I realized shooting the film is it wasn't about like adding more makeup or having different clothes. It was about the scenes themselves and everything that she had written. As an audience, you're not thinking about what makes her look older or what makes her seem older. It's just about conveying time, the passage of time, and so that was the trickier stuff for me, is playing the older. But I realized as we were filming, it wasn't that tricky at all. You just gotta have to buy into it yourself, and then the audience will as well.
What's the first moment as you were looking at the project that you realized Eddie Murphy might be Mr. Church?
I think he was attached to it before I became attached to it, but I can't really remember. Because I never really listened to those things because it's like, oh, so-and-so's attached, and then they're not, and then so-and-so. But when I knew that I was going to be rehearsing with him, that was the moment that I was like, okay, it's real. He's going to be doing it. And it was definitely a little intimidating, but I was excited. And I thought at the time there's no one more perfect for the role, because I think he has a really sweet charm about him. And it's a great opportunity for him to show this other side of his chops.
He exceeded your expectations, I'm sure.
He did, yes.
Was there a favorite moment shooting with him?
There was this moment where we're sitting on this piano bench, and he's sort of playing piano, and my character comes up and doesn't know how to play the piano, but just sort of sits with him and tools around, and he puts my fingers on his hands. And there was something really sweet about that scene because I don't know, I sort of felt like Eddie Murphy was really teaching me how to play piano in that moment, and I loved just having that connection with him. That we were just like so in that moment, and I really felt like young Charlie being mentored by her friend.
And you mentioned the young girl that plays your daughter toward the end of the movie. Tell us about working with her.
McKenna. She's a little spitfire. She's super cute. I just saw her in Independence Day, the new Independence Day movie. She is so good. I feel like she's in every little movie. But she's beyond her years. So is, there's something really, really special about a young person being able to convey emotions that they've probably never experienced in their life. And being able to talk to a young person like that was like an adult, She was like well, at the time she was, I think, 9. She was a little bit older, but she was playing 5. And that I could actually have real, like, actor conversations with her was kind of bizarre, but amazing. She's such a good actor. I'm sure she'll be working for however long, decades, years, centuries, whatever. So go, McKenna, go.
One of my favorite directors for a long time has been Bruce.
Oh, really?
What was he like to work with?
Oh, just the most charming. I feel like, whenever I see these directors who've been working for years and they've seen it all and they've dealt with it all, I'm always just like, God, how did they do it? How did they do it? And then you see them in the moment, and really making decisions and being a leader and creating a great vibe and a good tone, and it just makes you appreciate the classic directors doing just that, trying to make a good story, build a good story. They're not there for anything other than being a good person and making it happen, and getting the work done. And I loved that about him. And he's such a sweet dude. I mean, he's so sweet.
As you're making your way up the ladder here in the Hollywood film wars, I think you're getting your pick of scripts now. How do you know that one is right for you?
I don't know. I just read stuff and think, will I have a good time doing that? Will I be able to do something I haven't done? Does that seem interesting? Do I feel like I could see myself in that? Like when I read it and I can picture the film, if I can picture myself in it, that's usually a good sign. But it's kind of a crapshoot. I'm not quite sure.
Well, don't do what Michael Caine did in the 80s. He said,
what did he do?
He said he spent a decade just, the first thing he wanted to know was where was it shooting, if it was on a beach.
I get that.
Or a good location.
I get that.
He didn't care what the plot was or what his
it.
lines were.
I mean, there's a reason to do a movie for everybody. And I get, if something's shooting in like Timbuktu, sometimes you just don't want to do it. Luckily for me, this shot in LA. So worked out nicely.
Well, thank you so much. It's a great movie.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out.